Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome aboard the Gaming Galleon. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of our most played games, Port Royale. Port Royale is a push-your-luck trading game for 2 to 5 players designed by Alexander Pfister and published by Pegasus Spiele. Set on the docks of Port Royale at the height of the Age of Sail, players will be trading with ships, purchasing persons to help further their goals, and sending some of those persons on expeditions, all to ultimately end the game with the most victory points. Now that description absolutely does not do Port Royale justice, but we'll come back to that later on. Port Royale comes in 2 different versions. The original version comes in this smaller box, which is perfect for travel, and it was the first version that we got, and it's also available in the much larger big box edition, which has updated artwork and contains all of the expansions. Now for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be demonstrating and showcasing using the big box edition, but that's only because the smaller one, our copy's getting a little bit more dog-eared through use. The setup for Port Royale is really simple. Shuffle the cards and deal 3 face down to each player as their starting coins. You see, every card in the game serves 2 purposes. On one side, whatever the card is, ships, persons, expeditions and taxes, etc. The other side is a gold coin, and whenever you earn a coin, you take a card face down. Simple, right? Yet there's something really elegant about this design as well. You may know that there are certain numbers of cards in the deck, but no one can ever rule out with absolute certainty that one of those copies, or multiple of those copies, might not be being held by another player as their gold. Players take it in turns to see how their day goes. On their turn, a player reveals the top card of the deck and adds it to a central pool called the Harbour Display. A player may stop revealing cards at any time and proceed to Phase 2, the trading phase. However, should a player reveal 2 ships of the same colour into their harbour display, they bust out and their turn ends, skipping the trading phase. Now, revealing cards in the reveal phase is risky. Sure, you may be looking for a particular person to hire, or be looking for a larger ship to trade with. You see, you can take any card out of the harbour display and earn the number of coins displayed on it. But there's always that chance of getting 2 ships of the same colour sailing into your harbour and ruining your day. But if you can get different colour ships, you might be able to take more cards. You see, if you have only one type of ship in your harbour, you'll only be able to take 1 card, whether that's trading with a ship for gold or hiring a single person to your personal dock. But if you can get 4 different ships, you can take 2 cards, perhaps trading with a ship and then using that gold to hire someone that you couldn't afford otherwise. And if you can reveal all 5 colours of ship, well, that's a glorious day that'll let you take a whopping 3 cards. Once you're happy with your choices, the next player around the table gets the opportunity to take a card out of your harbour display too, but they will owe you a gold coin for doing so. This is a really neat mechanic that ensures that every player around the table is constantly watching that harbour display to see if there's a card they need, a ship they can trade with, a particular person they want to buy, and everyone is waiting with bated breath to watch you screw out. During the reveal phase, there are some other notable cards that may appear too. Expeditions are added to a shared row, where players can hand in a collection of settlers, priests, or captains in return for gold and a solid chunk of those all-important victory points. Then there are taxes, which cause all players with 12 or more coins to lose half of them. Now this is hilarious for everyone else involved, but it's not all bad, as taxes pay gold to the player or players with either the fewest victory points or the most defences. I suppose we should talk more about those defences and ships, shouldn't we? Sailors and pirates, identified by their cutlass symbols, can be hired to your dock, and if a ship is revealed with equal or fewer cutlasses than your total defences, then you can repel it, perhaps saving your harbour display from busting out.
No, begone, demon.
The cutlasses aren't used, so if you have 4 of them, you can send away any ship with 4 or fewer, repeatedly if you keep revealing multiple.
Begone. You two. What the hell? Begone! from my sight.
Reveal a ship with 5 or more, and you'll still bust out, however, and you can never send away a ship that has a skull instead of cutlasses. Other persons do all kinds of a variety of roles. Merchants will help you earn more gold for trading with their matching colour. Admirals will earn you 2 coins if there are at least 5 cards when it's your turn to take a card. Governors allow you to take an additional card, and jesters laugh when someone busts out, and they'll earn you a gold coin for that, even if it was you who busted. All of these happen even if it's not your turn, and there are plenty of other roles that I haven't discussed. So play goes around, with players all pushing their luck, all trading with each other for different coins and cards in each other's harbours display. Everyone's constantly hiring their own display and looking for particular cards to finally come out. It's all washing together into this magnificent shared experience where players are constantly feeling each other's pain when someone busts out, but laughing equally when a jester starts paying coin for that. Everyone is working together whilst at the same time competing for the same cards, and it's always a surprise and a little bit of a shame when someone spots that they reached that magnificent 12 victory points. The whole experience is hilarious, and because of how the harbour mechanics work, everyone is constantly engaged at that table, everyone's having fun, and it is a complete unified experience. And that's just the base game. Port Royal then has 2 expansions. Just One More Contract adds these large contract cards, which can do all kinds of crazy things in your game. Some of them just require you to send away a certain number of ships, or ships of different types and colours. Some of them require you to collect particular cards, and that can massively change the dynamic of a game. In our group, for example, traders aren't particularly popular. They tend to get overlooked in a lot of our games. That is, until one of the contracts comes out that requires you to have 2 traders. Suddenly, everyone's scrambling for them in order to get those additional gold coins and the additional victory points that completing contracts can do. That's not even to mention the mercenary contract, which requires you to have 3 cutlass symbols in your harbour. And ultimately, sailors and pirates are in high demand at the best of times. Add that contract into the game, and things can get vicious. Just One More Contract does also add some other cards, including ships that require you to pay out someone else when you collect them, clerks that allow you to draw additional cards if you trade with the right person, gunners that suddenly give out gold depending on the number of ships in your harbour display, forcing you to push your luck even further, and the Vice Admiral, a little bit of a weedy card that gives you an additional gold coin if there's only 3 or 4 cards left in the harbour display. The second expansion, The Adventure Begins, is a lot more involved and adds a campaign-like story mode for players to engage with, completing missions to advance, and even allows for a solo mode, which, whilst not one of my favourite solo games, is definitely enjoyable enough to break out from time to time if you really need that Port Royal fix and no one else is around, you know? Honestly though, we tend to just use the base game when teaching new players, and our main group tends to use just the Just One More Contract expansion. Now, both of those expansions are available for the standard edition of the game, but they do also come included in the Port Royal Big Box edition, so let's talk about these for a moment. Now, the Big Box contains the base game and both expansions, some exclusive promo cards, and an additional standalone version of Port Royal called Ready to Set Sail, which is a stripped-down, simplistic version of the game designed to teach new players. It gets rid of some of the more complex cards like the Governor, the Jester, the Admiral, and instead focuses simply on traders, on the sailors and pirates, the ships, and hiring passengers to come on journeys with you to earn victory points. Even the expeditions are completely gone from that version. And honestly, it's a fairly fast, quick-paced game, but we've never really had any issues teaching Port Royal to new players. It's, in its essence, a very simple and straightforward game anyway that can be very quickly explained with just a couple of dummy rounds. As such, Ready to Set Sail is a bit of a novelty, and you can add some of the cards in it into the main deck to make that even bigger, but for the most part, the base game seems to do that quite comfortably for us. Now, the Big Box edition also does come with updated artwork, and it is definitely, in my opinion, better. Art is very subjective, so that's just what I feel, you know? Some people love the original artwork style, and it definitely has its charm. I'm not saying this is bad. I just really like the vibrancy, the brighter colours, and the more intense artwork of the big box version. I think across a table it becomes a little bit easier to see exactly what's going on, but that might just be my opinion, and there are definitely some folks out there on the internet who will quite categorically tell me I'm wrong and that this is the prettier looking box. Now, on the subject of boxes as well, you may have noticed this one is a lot bigger. Now that means if you want Port Royale as something that you can take with you on a voyage to wherever, then this one is a lot easier to transport. That said, is it worth buying the big box for all the expansions and then this as a travel version? I'm not convinced, because I can just open this one up, shuffle the cards I want together, and then put them in a small plastic travel box that I can buy from my supermarket. And so I can do a travel edition using this and one additional tool that costs me a couple of bucks extra. That said, because we bought the Port Royale original version first, I do use that as a travel edition. So when I'm going somewhere, that's the box that comes with me. This one stays at home for our big table games. So the question at this point in the video is, does Port Royale join our crew, or are we going to make it walk the plank? And I think the answer by now should be pretty obvious. This is one of our most played games. I think everyone that we've introduced it to absolutely loves it, and I genuinely think it should have a place on every gamer's shelf. It's quick to play, it's quick to teach, it's easy to teach, it's fun, it's engaging, and it works with all ages. There's nothing violent here, there's nothing gory here. It is age appropriate for the entire family, it's quick and it's easy. I don't know what there isn't to love about Port Royale. This, genuinely, is right up there as one of my greatest board and card games of all time, and that's why I kind of wanted to open with it as one of the videos I started this channel with. Now, that said, I'm sure you all have your own opinions. Have you played Port Royale? Is this a game that you enjoy? Maybe you didn't have quite the same experiences. Maybe you think I'm completely wrong about the campaign expansion, and you think that this is the better version of the artwork. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Otherwise, folks, thank you for joining me on this voyage. Happy sailing, and see you all next time.